Hello, hello. It's been a while because I've been slacking. I think it's been like 2 months since my last update. It was right before my last chemo. So here I am to update y'all. I've had a lot going on recently, so, give me a break. But look at all this hair coming in. My eyebrows are lacking. They're a little red because I tried really hard to draw on eyebrows and use my tattoo thing. It's just not working. So you get what you get. You get these little sprigs of eyebrows that are coming back. Let's see. On March 27th, I had my last round of chemo. I got to ring the little bell and it was absolutely amazing.
All right, ready, set, go. Yay!
Congratulations.
You're welcome. Aww.
The nurses at the cancer center I go to are amazing people and I love them to death, and I thank them for everything that they've done for me so far. A week after I had my last chemo, I flew down to Houston for the first of many appointments at MD Anderson. If you don't know, MD Anderson is like the place to go if you have cancer. It's absolutely amazing. They are a well-oiled machine, let me tell you. They do appointments back to back. If they order a scan, you get it done that day most of the time. They are really good at what they do. It's like being on a conveyor belt. Just They had me see every doctor under the sun, even non-cancer related. I saw an endocrinologist because I have Hashimoto's disease on top of everything else. They ran labs and bumped up my levothyroxine, so glad that I saw them. They sent me to their own oncologist. They like to do everything themselves and repeat labs and repeat tests just so that they know and they have it on their machines and everything like that. So they're very thorough. I saw an oncologist there. I saw my 2 surgeons, so my general breast surgeon who did the double mastectomy, and then my plastic surgeon who's going to be doing the reconstruction. They are both amazing. I love them to death. They also sent me to the AS Center. So it's AYA, Adolescent and Young Adult is what that stands for. And anybody under 40 years of age that has cancer is considered an AA patient other than pediatric. They were amazing. They also gave me a nutritionist to kind of help me as far as food goes with the combination of both breast cancer and having Hashimoto's disease, which cuts out a lot of food that I absolutely love, but I'm going to try my hardest after my reconstruction. I'm kind of maintaining my chunk right now because they're going to use my own fat to reconstruct my breasts, and yeah, so I get to keep on some weight. If there's not enough in my stomach, they're going to use some fat from my thighs. I was only in Houston for a few days, staying down in the med center, so I didn't really get to see too many people. But I did swing by my friend Yasmin's house, and Crystal came by as well, and I got to meet baby Cosmo. He's so cute. I think he has more hair than I do. That was awesome seeing them, and they tried to help me with the eyebrow tattoos, so that was entertaining.
We're fine. It's fine. We're gonna be fine. We're fine. That's gonna be too close together. I don't fucking know.
All right, cut them apart then. I trust you. Are we doing one at a time?
Route. It's like, I mean, it ain't.
I think that's all right. This is gonna be interesting.
Well, and it's okay if they're a little off. Like,
yeah,
they're supposed to be sisters, not twins, right? Like, that's how eyebrows are.
Is that? Do people say that?
Yes. Oh, do I keep the pressure on?
I
there?
think so. You can touch my head. It's okay.
Okay.
Okay, it's probably.
All right, I'm closing my eyes so y'all get a first view, and I know that you're gonna laugh because there's only one on right now.
I'm sorry. It doesn't go with it. I think I did it too high. It's too high. You look so surprised.
Oh yeah, it's there. Oh, it's high.
I've never done this before. Alright. I don't know. I don't think I have a very good
good feeling about this. All right. I think we're ready.
Okay.
Here we go. Fuck. Oh! What's so funny?
Just remember they're sisters, not twins.
It's not terrible. Definitely. These are like half sisters.
They don't even like each other.
I might go as far to say stepsisters, but
They're like redheaded stepsisters. They really don't like each other.
Can we please put some on Cosmo?
wanted to try to do the eyebrows to practice for the wedding that I had coming up for the Owenses. Owenses. Y'all correct me, I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, so after that quick trip to Houston with all those doctor's appointments, I made it back to Maryland and got to hang out for a bit and just kind of relax and not have doctor's appointments. That was awesome. So just 2 weeks after my first visit to Houston, I actually started driving back to Texas. I wanted to have my vehicle there because I knew I was going to have a lot of appointments. I was going to be there for about a month staying with Megan and Scott. Thank you for letting me stay there. So I started driving back and I made a pit stop in Louisiana to see my girl Jess and Charlotte and Jess's husband Jamie. Jess had bought me a mug. It said, this is something like, this is my chemo mug, and when I'm done with everything, I'll smash it to pieces. So I brought that with me because I wanted to be with Jess to shatter it. I am here at Jess's with my chemo mug. We're gonna smash it. You ready to celebrate with breaking things?
Yeah. Yeah. 1, 2.
It was pretty therapeutic to just take something that was, representing everything I'd been through and just take a hammer to it. So that was a good moment, and I'm glad that I got to spend it with Jess and Charlotte. So my surgery was scheduled for May 3rd, which was perfect because Rachel and Clay's wedding was on the 29th of April. And so I went to Houston a little bit early just to get settled, and I went to the wedding. Rocked a wig, although I feel like it kind of looked like a little bit of a helmet. I should have practiced some more because I'm not good at putting on lace front wigs, but it worked and everyone lied to me and said it looked natural. So yeah, we'll go with that. It was great. Definitely one of my favorite weddings that I've been to. And congratulations, Rachel and Clay. Yay. So surgery day. I know initially in the last video I had mentioned that I wanted to go to MD Anderson to try to get everything done at once, and they explained to me why I couldn't get everything done at once. The reason being that they wanted to do a sentinel node biopsy. That's a biopsy of the lymph nodes, the main lymph node that everything goes through at the first or something like that. I don't know if y'all really want to know the details, you can Google it, but it's like the primary lymph node. They wanted to biopsy that and make sure that there were no cancer cells, because if there was still cancer, I'd have to get radiation. With the deep flap surgery that I'm gonna have, they didn't want to go and move healthy tissue up to my chest just to have it radiated afterwards in the event that we found out that I still had cancer cells. The test itself takes about a week to complete. You can get a preliminary that says, yeah, no signs of cancer, but sometimes, occasionally it comes back like, oh, just kidding, there was, because I guess the dye takes about a week to set or something. But that's why I had to have 2 surgeries. So the first surgery was just a double mastectomy, and they put in expanders to prep my skin and get me to the size that I feel comfortable with. They'll slowly be inflated and all of that. So that was the first surgery. The double mastectomy, removing as much breast tissue as they can and putting in these plastic like balloon things. They're so uncomfortable, especially right now. They're not inflated at all. They didn't want to put extra strain on new incisions, and so there's just like a little bit of air in there, and they're super uncomfortable. The surgery itself took, from beginning to end, when Lee got to see me, he said it was about 5 hours, but I'm sure that the surgery part was, I think the surgery was actually for maybe 3 or 4 hours, but a lot of it's recovery time after.
What's in your pocket, Aiden?
Oh, I don't know.
These fools. So I woke up and I had 3 drains. I had 2 in my left side and 1 in my right side. And that was probably the most uncomfortable part. I was still numb in the chest, so at that point I didn't feel the expanders. I could definitely feel the drains coming out of my side. That was so annoying, and I had to like be careful how I moved and make sure that they would not get hooked on anything. It was a nightmare. I stayed in the hospital overnight that night, and Lee stayed with me. That was awesome, but apparently his little chair was super uncomfortable, so for the second surgery we're going to try something different rather than him staying in the hospital room with me. So with those drains, they have to be emptied twice a day. So you have to strip the drains to get like all the blood and any clots and gross stuff that's in the lines out. You have to empty the drains twice a day and measure the output, so how much fluid is coming out, in these little measuring cups, and record it. And once you get 2 days in a row, or like 42 hours in a row, with under 30 milliliters, that's when the drains are ready to come out. The drains were super obnoxious because you have to like either clip them to your surgical bra, or whenever I stopped wearing the surgical bra, like you gotta wear a shirt with pockets or pin them to your clothes. I eventually got to the point where I said F it and just tucked them into the band of my pants because I was just so tired of dealing with having to pin them or clip them. So I was in the hospital one night, and then I wasn't allowed to shower until I think a day or 2 later. And my first shower, seeing myself in the mirror for the first time without the surgical bra on and like with the dressings removed and everything, that was hard. I'm not gonna lie. I think I cried for about 20 minutes. Lee had to help me shower. It was rough. I felt like when I looked in the mirror, I was mutilated. Don't get me wrong, my surgeon did a phenomenal job. It looks amazing now with like everything that it's temporary, right? It's temporary. But I had tried to get an idea of what to expect, and you can't really find much online as far as right after a mastectomy with the expanders in, without them inflated. Whenever you search up like double mastectomy, post-surgery, it shows like when they're all filled or after reconstruction and things like that. I didn't see much as far as what to expect right after surgery. So because of that, if anybody is watching, and God forbid they ever have to go through this, at the end of this video, I'm going to show y'all what it looks like. So feel free to stop watching at the end of it. If you don't want to see the post-surgery chest, Dad, stop watching. Again, there's no nipples or anything, so it's not like, oh, titties, right? But in case anybody ever has to go through this, I kind of want to be the person to show you what you might expect so that it's not going to blindside you like I felt like I was. Even if I knew what to expect, I might have still had that same reaction. I probably would have still had the same reaction. But yeah, it was tough to see that. So I'll put that at the end of the video just with a little pause, like a warning. In case anybody doesn't want to see it. So while I was still in Houston, about a week after surgery, I had a follow-up appointment and I was able to get my first drain removed. I think that was the lymph node drain. So they had one on each side for both boobs and then one drain because of the lymph node biopsy. So that was 1 week after, and at that visit, I was lucky enough to get the pathology results back. And I am happy to say that I got a PCR, a pathologic complete response. So that means I have no cancer. I am officially in remission, no signs of cancer, no radiation needed. The likelihood of it coming back is roughly 3%, so I'm so happy about that. I barely felt a thing on the drain removal. Some people say that it was painful. I have a couple friends that were like, they hated the drain removal. Mine, not so bad. I don't know if I'm just lucky or high pain tolerance or what, but it was like, boop, right out, no problem. So Lee and I ended up driving back to Maryland not too long after that. I think it was like the next day that we drove back. We made a pit stop in Knoxville, Tennessee, and stayed for a day just to kind of give myself a break, to not drive that long, 2 days in a row. And Knoxville was awesome. We stayed in the mountains. It was absolutely beautiful. Got to explore a bit. So maybe one day in the future we'll be moving out there. Absolutely loved it. Once we were back in Maryland, I had a follow-up appointment with a surgeon here in Maryland who is in contact with my surgeon back in Houston. And so they're just kind of communicating with each other. He's going to be doing all of the expansions of the expanders in my chest. And what's crazy is that my two surgeons, Maryland and Houston, they actually know each other. They went to school together. He actually passed down an apartment to her whenever he moved away from Houston. Wild. So it worked out perfectly. They know each other. It's great. They're just texting each other, taking pictures and sending them. It worked out really well. My doctor in Maryland was able to remove my other 2 drains at my follow-up visit with him, and we are going to start the expansions next week on the 7th, and I am excited for that. He said that I'm healing nicely, that they did a great job on the incisions and the stitches, suture, whatever. So I'm healing well. So this past Thursday, I went and saw my oncologist for the first time since March 27th, and we got to talking a bit. MD Anderson sent a file like that. He walked into the room and said, "Let me go grab your thesis real quick." And he walks in. MD Anderson sent him the whole file from all the different doctors, and it was massive. That's how thorough they are. But he was super excited to see the PCR result. We talked about starting immunotherapy. Whenever I was in Houston, the oncologist down there had told me that they actually have Herceptin and Perjeta in a shot form, a subcutaneous shot form. And so I asked my doctor about that, and he said the main thing is seeing if insurance will cover it. If they do, then I can opt for the shots, and they go in my thighs, opt for the shots instead of the infusions. And then if I respond well to those, if insurance approves it, I can have my port taken out. So it won't be like running into my expander all the time, because they get hooked on each other, and it's not fun to have the port here with the expander right here. They aren't friends. I'm really hopeful that the insurance company will approve the shot version instead of the infusion. It'll cut down on appointment time. I won't have to sit there and get infusions for a couple hours. That would be great. And those I have to take for a year. I also have to take tamoxifen for 5 years, which is what sent me into menopause. My reconstructions should be in about 2 months, and that is, like I said, going to be taking fat from my stomach and my thighs, so I'm really looking forward to that. We're trying to get that booked and scheduled on the OR calendar so that I can start making plans and arrangements for going back to Houston. Lee has some travel coming up, so we're trying to work around that, and we'll see what happens. That surgery, I'll be in the hospital for 3 nights. And the first night they'll be checking on me every hour. Hopefully I don't need more drains, but I'll probably need more drains. I hate drains. Drains are the worst. MD Anderson did a bunch of mapping scans. So they did a CT of my abdomen and my thighs to map out the blood vessels that they're gonna connect like my stomach blood vessels, and connect them to my chest so that there's a good blood supply. Like, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts how detailed they are, and it's amazing. So that's like microsurgery, connecting my little veins and stuff. So that's really cool. So that's about where I'm at right now. I'm in Maryland, just hanging out, enjoying life. I start work back next Wednesday. So I'm going back to work now that I'm, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and all that. And then I'll be back on short term for my second surgery, but only for like 4 to 5 weeks. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So here's where I will give y'all a warning and say that I'm about to post the photos and videos of what my incisions look like. So if you're not up for that, or you're my dad, stop watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.